Why does the cheese always leak out when cooking, even though you're just making simple potato balls? The secret lies in one tiny step that's easy to overlook, but once you get it right, you'll have perfectly crispy potato balls with a soft, melt-in-your-mouth center and beautifully contained gooey cheese inside. First, I peel the potatoes thoroughly, then rinse them well to remove any remaining starch. I cut the potatoes into small chunks to make them boil faster. Now I bring a pot of water to a boil and add a pinch of salt. Once the water is boiling, I add the potatoes and cook until they're soft. You can test by inserting a chopstick. If it goes through easily, they're done. I then drain the potatoes well. While the potatoes are still warm, I quickly mash them. At this stage, they're soft, gently fragrant, and steaming hot with a pleasant aroma. I start by mixing in a bit of salt, some freshly ground pepper, 1 beaten egg, and stir well. Then I add a little paprika for color and a subtle aroma, and finally a bit of flour to help the mixture bind better. I mix everything thoroughly so the potatoes absorb the seasonings, then set the mixture aside. Now on to the vegetables. I finely chop the onion. I peel the carrot and grate it into thin shreds for easier mixing. I dice the red bell pepper into small cubes. Next, I heat a pan with a bit of cooking oil. Then I add the onion, bell pepper, and carrot to the pan and stir-fry them. Just a quick 2 to 3 minute sauté is enough to soften the veggies and bring out their aroma. After 3 minutes, I turn off the heat and let the sautéed vegetables cool down completely before mixing them with the potatoes. Be sure to let the vegetables cool fully before combining them with the mashed potatoes. If you mix them in while still hot, the potato mixture can turn too soft and lose the stickiness needed for shaping into balls. Now, I cut the mozzarella cheese into small, bite-sized cubes. Next, I take a bit of the mixed potato mixture, roll it into a small ball, gently press the center, place a piece of cheese inside, and wrap it up tightly. Using my hands, I gently roll the ball until it's smooth and even, making sure there are no cracks. This way, when cooked or baked, the cheese will melt perfectly inside without leaking out. At this point, I heat a pan with a little cooking oil, just enough to lightly sear the potato balls. Once the pan is hot, I place each potato ball into the pan and fry them over medium heat. Fry each side for about 2 to 3 minutes, just until lightly golden. Be sure to flip them gently to avoid breaking the balls. By now, the potato balls have firmed up nicely and give off a pleasant aroma of potato and egg. I transfer them onto a plate for now. Next, I add cooking oil to a separate pan. Once the oil is hot, I sauté some minced garlic, stirring until it becomes fragrant. After that, I add about 1 tablespoon of tomato sauce and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce to the pan and stir well. Then I pour in a bit of water and about 100 milliliters of fresh cream. I continue stirring and let it simmer over low heat until the sauce starts to bubble gently and thicken slightly. At this point, the sauce smells absolutely delightful, lightly creamy without being heavy, with a perfect sweet, tangy balance from the tomato. It's so appetizing. Once the sauce has thickened, gently arrange the lightly fried potato balls in a tray, then pour the sauce evenly over the top. Then I sprinkle a bit of grated cheese on top. You can use any type of cheese you like. Then I place the tray of prepared potatoes and sauce into the oven. I bake it at 180 degrees for about 10 minutes. Once the cheese on top melts, turns slightly golden, and releases a rich aroma, it's ready. Now take the dish out of the oven. When you take a bite, you'll taste the rich sauce coating the soft potato crust with a gooey, melty cheese filling inside, creamy and indulgent, but not heavy at all. Finally, sprinkle some finely chopped scallions on top. It adds a touch of color and a gentle, fresh aroma. Cheese-stuffed potato balls in creamy tomato sauce are light but absolutely addictive. Each tender ball hides a gooey, melty cheese center and is coated in a rich, tangy, and creamy tomato sauce. Served hot, the cheese stretches perfectly and the flavor is at its best. Ideal for a light meal or a weekend treat. Try it once and everyone will be hooked. Don't forget to save this recipe.